Why does the spiral appear everywhere? Why is it carved into stones older than pyramids, drawn into tombs, painted into temples, woven into cloth, etched into the very skin of people who lived thousands of years apart? Why does the same curve appear in seashells, in pine cones, in whirlpools, in hurricanes, in galaxies 100,000 light-years across? Why does the spiral repeat, not just in the world around us, but in the very DNA that coils inside our cells? The spiral is not decoration. It is not coincidence. It is the oldest symbol of life. And if you learn to read it, the spiral tells the story of creation, of destruction, of eternity, and of you. From the beginning, humans recognized it. Before letters, before alphabets, before cities, there were spirals. On the entrance stone at Newgrange in Ireland, 5,000 years ago, spirals twist and turn. When the solstice sun strikes the tomb, its light floods the chamber, tracing the same path. 3 curves, endless return. Nobody explained it in words. They didn't need to. The shape itself was the explanation. Cross the ocean and climb the desert cliffs of the American Southwest. And there, too, the spiral is cut into stone. Petroglyphs mark the sun, the wind, the invisible forces. To the Mayans, the spiral represented breath and spirit. To the Aztecs, it was the god Ehecatl, the breath that animates life. In Polynesia, the Maori drew the koru, the unfurling fern, its tight coil symbolizing birth, renewal, family. In Africa, spiral motifs appear in textiles and carvings, signifying ancestry, continuity, cycles of lineage. In Japan, the tomoi swirl became a symbol of energy, power, and movement, appearing in Shinto shrines, samurai crests, and drums that echoed in ritual. In India, spirals appear in mandalas, in the chakras and yantras that chart the cosmos within and without. These cultures did not know each other. They did not trade, did not share language, did not cross oceans. And yet, everywhere, the spiral. Why? Because the spiral was not invented by people. It was discovered. Look closer at nature. Look at the seeds of a sunflower. They arrange themselves in spirals, each placed at an angle of 137.5 degrees from the last, the golden angle, ensuring no space is wasted. Look at a pine cone, at the scales of a pineapple, at the shell of a nautilus. Growth, rotation, repetition, add a little, turn a little, repeat. The result is the spiral. Look at the sky. Hurricanes coil like monstrous arms across oceans. Tornadoes spin with the same geometry. Smoke rises in spirals. Water drains in spirals. Energy prefers the spiral because the spiral is the path of least resistance, the most efficient form. And then look further. The Andromeda galaxy spins in great arms of stars, light and matter coiling in eternity. Look inward, and the DNA in your body twists into a double helix, a staircase spiraling through every cell, carrying the instructions of life. The spiral is the pattern of the cosmos, from the smallest to the largest, repeating across scales as if existence has one signature. But the spiral is more than geometry. It is psychology, it is myth. It is the story of how we live and how we change. Think of the labyrinth. In the myth, Theseus entered the labyrinth to face the Minotaur. The labyrinth is not a random maze. It is a spiral path inward. You circle again and again, closer to the center, closer to confrontation. That is life. Repetition that is not repetition. The same mistakes, the same lessons, the same fears, but each time at a deeper level, a closer distance to the truth. You do not return to the beginning. You spiral toward the center. Mystics in every culture knew this. Buddhists painted mandalas with spiraling arms, consciousness unfolding from the center. Hindu traditions imagined Kundalini energy as a serpent spiraling up the spine, awakening each chakra. The Celts carved triple spirals, the triskele representing life, death, rebirth, the eternal cycle. Norse myth gave us Jormungandr, the serpent coiling around the earth, an Ouroboros of world-ending and world-renewing. Egyptians imagined the coiled serpent Mayhen protecting Ra in his nightly journey through the underworld. Alchemists drew the Ouroboros as a serpent eating its tail, often not a perfect circle but a swelling, tightening curve. a spiral pretending to be a circle, eternal recurrence as eternal growth. Religions built the spiral into stone. Gothic cathedrals used spiral staircases to lift pilgrims toward light, step after step, circling upward in dizzy devotion. Islamic architecture unfurled endless spiraling arabesques, geometry that spoke of infinity, a pattern without end. In Mesoamerica, spiral glyphs represented breath, word, wind, the invisible turning forces. In the Andes, spiral carvings appeared in Tiwanaku and Nazca, representing water, fertility, cosmic energy. Everywhere, the spiral was sacred because everywhere the spiral was true. Science later confirmed what myth intuited. Mathematicians studied phyllotaxis, the spirals of plants, and saw Fibonacci numbers repeating, not by magic but by efficiency. Physicists studied vortices and saw spirals as the natural resolution of turbulence. Astronomers mapped galaxies, spirals of stars and dust. Neuroscientists studied the folds of the brain, spirals and waves frozen in gray matter. The spiral was not superstition. The spiral was law. And yet the spiral is not only light, it has a shadow. Spirals ascend, but they also descend. Dante imagined hell as a spiral staircase downward, each circle deeper in corruption. Psychologists speak of downward spirals, addiction, depression, self-destruction. One more drink, one more lie, one more wasted hour. Add a little, turn a little, repeat. The spiral rewards consistency, whether for growth or for ruin. The hurricane and the galaxy share the same shape. One creates stars, the other destroys cities. The difference is direction. Your life, too, is spiral. Think of your habits. Small actions, repeated, circle your life. Read a few pages, and years later you have a library in your mind. Waste a few hours every night, and years later your life is hollow. The spiral teaches, nothing is trivial. Every repetition grows. The question is, upward or downward? Carl Jung described individuation, the long process of becoming yourself, as a spiral. You meet the same wounds again and again. You fall into the same relationships, the same mistakes. But each time, if you are conscious, you meet them at a deeper level, with more awareness, more strength. Life is not linear progress, it is spiral progress. The circle repeats, the spiral remembers. Cultures knew this. They built labyrinths you could walk, circling inward and outward, teaching with footsteps what words cannot. Surrender to the path, patience with the turn, trust in the center. They danced spirals in ritual, bodies moving together, orbiting one point. They lit lamps in spirals, light unfurling outward. They carved spirals into stone, into wood, into skin, because the spiral was not a symbol of decoration, but of instruction. The spiral also maps history. Nietzsche spoke of eternal return, but history does not repeat exactly. It spirals. Empires rise, collapse, rise again in new form. Ideas fade, then return transformed. Humanity faces the same crises, but never from the same point. Always spiraling, always remembering, always repeating at a deeper level. The spiral is also in your dreams. People dream of spiraling staircases, of descending tunnels, of rising curves. Psychologists read these as symbols of transformation, of descent into the unconscious, of ascent into awareness. The spiral is the path of the psyche, in sleep as in waking. And still today the spiral stalks us. We tattoo it. We design with it. We sketch it without thinking. We see it in logos, in art, in architecture. The spiral is not gone because it cannot be gone. It is older than us, older than writing, older than myth. It is written into the structure of reality. So what does it mean for you? It means that when you feel you are trapped in repetition, you are not at the beginning again. You are spiraling. You are at a new turn. The mistake you repeat is not the same mistake. It is the same shape, deeper, closer to the core. The question is not whether you are repeating. The question is whether you are spiraling upward or downward. The spiral teaches, find your center. The storm spins around an eye. The galaxy spins around a mass. Your life spins around what you choose as your meaning. If your center is rage, the spiral will amplify rage. If your center is emptiness, the spiral will collapse. But if your center is truth or love or creation, the spiral will carry you upward. Lose the center, and the spiral is chaos. Find the center, and the spiral is dance. That is why the spiral appears everywhere. Because existence is not line, not circle, but spiral. Not progress without memory, not repetition without growth, but growth that remembers. That is why the spiral is the oldest symbol of life. Because it tells the oldest truth. To live is to turn again and again around what matters, each time deeper, each time higher. You breathe in spirals. You dream in spirals. You rise and fall in spirals. You are made of spirals. And when you die, your atoms will spiral outward, feeding stars that spiral galaxies into light. The spiral is the fingerprint of the universe. The spiral is the pattern of your soul. The question carved into stone 5,000 years ago is the same one carved into your life right now. Which way are you spiraling?